You're locked on and listening to KSLOW, K-Slow 760 on the AM dial. And boy, do we have a brutal drive out there today. Don't plan on eating a warm dinner tonight because that pork chop will be ice cold by the time you get home. Yep, nothing beats sitting in traffic with nothing to look forward to but getting home to crabby kids and a wife who, well, let's just say forget about getting laid tonight. Not gonna happen. Yep, nothing left to do in your monotonous middle-aged existence than to fill that gaping empty gap of unfulfillment with toys. Lots and lots of collectible toys, action figures and such that remind you of a time back in your youth when the world was young, full of limitless adventure and endless opportunity. Well, time to get back to the tunes here on KSLOW. How about something really crappy that will make you wish you were dead? Here's some Ace of Base! Knick-Knack's Plastic Planet. With your host, it's Knick-Knack! Hey, how's it going? And welcome to the very first transmission from the Plastic Planet. I am your host, as the intro there alluded to. I am Knick-Knack, and we're going to have a lot of fun together. And I'm hoping to start this channel up, and I'm hoping we can have a lot of fun doing some really, really cool stuff here. If you are into Star Wars collectibles, both low end and a little higher end, if you're into Transformers, not Bayformers, but Transformers, I'm your guy too. If you like DC collectibles, if you just like action figures in general and maybe laughing a little bit about at the absurdity of this hobby, then you're on the right channel. You should click and subscribe right now because we're gonna have a lot of fun here on the Plastic Planet. You know, for the very first episode, I'm gonna kind of keep it simple because I'm kind of trying to plan out how I want to run this show for the first at least 10 episodes. So we're gonna keep it kind of simple today, and I'm just gonna give you guys a little bit of a room tour of my collection, at least part of it. I'm going to stick with just my higher-end Sideshow and Hot Toys Star Wars figures today. I got a lot to show you, and I figured I could stretch that into a few episodes, and I got a lot to talk about. But, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good laugh. I hope this works for everybody. Right now I'm using my computer webcam. I hope it looks decent. I apologize if it doesn't. I'm a little bit new to the YouTubing experience. I am a 20-year broadcast veteran, but I've mostly worked behind the scenes and not in editing or anything like that. I did some on-air when I was much, much younger, and I did some stand-up comedy when I was much, much younger. And so I thought YouTube would be a great way to get back into it, and so to speak, but also talk about my true passion, and that is collecting plastic crap. One more note, if I am frequently on the, well, not frequently, but sometimes on the Sideshow Freaks website. That's sideshowcollectors.com. And if you might know me from there, my handle there is Plastic Crap Money Waster. So anyway, hey, how's it going? Shout out to those guys over there. And let's get to it. I'm going to show you around my room, and we're going to have a good time, all right?
Later, at the top of the steps.
All right, here we are, guys, and I hope you are as excited as I am. We're about to make touchdown on the Plastic Planet. We're descending down towards the world of fun and excitement and plastic through the brutal atmosphere of my wife's kitchen. So, hang tight, here we go. Alrighty, and here we are going down the stairs into the world of plastic. So I'll give you a little bit of a sweep around the room from the steps. There is a ton of Sideshow and Hot Toys figures on that shelf. A lot of Sideshow stuff as well. Rolling through here, there's my couch. Some artwork, original artwork in the just off from the couch that my mother drew for me when I was a child. There's just tons of stuff to see down here. And over here is sort of my Transformers and DC and 1980s kind of stuff. Swinging around. There's some bots. And there is some Star Trek. But today we're going to focus mostly on the Sideshow and the Hot Toys, as I previously said. And as you can see, I've got quite a bit. I'm going to start with this Detolf bank over here. I actually raised these about a year and a half ago when I went to IKEA and I bought 8 of those little end tables.
or lax, and I basically cut the legs, or didn't use the legs for one set, and then drilled holes in the tops of half the tabletops and holes in the bottom of the legs, and inserted wooden dowels for added support, along with some Gorilla Glue, and they've held up nicely. I mean, it looks kind of flimsy to hold all that detolf weight, but it actually has held up beautifully. I do check it once in a while with a level, and everything seems to be holding. I got the confidence to do that because I left a 20-gallon fish tank on top of one of those lacks for like 6 months, and it didn't even bow. So yeah, give you a little bit of a closer look up in here. Of course, I mean, a lot of guys have these same setups and the same stuff, but it's always fun to see what other people do, I think. As you can see, I got my some older Princess Leia memorabilia from Sideshow in there, and Gentle Giant. There are the new Jawas from Sideshow Collectibles, along with R5D4 and the older Tusken Raider. Now, these Jawas, I gotta tell you, of all the things Sideshow has done, I think these are some of my least favorites. Not because they don't look cool, and they look great lit up, but they're such a pain in the ass to do so. And you can't leave them on a shelf lit up, because obviously the batteries will die. So, maybe one day I'll get those out and show them to you guys, And if there's anything you guys want to see closer up, leave a comment, and I'll definitely do that for you. Going down here, just again, some older Sideshow stuff. Got a Mace Windu, and over here we got some Bounty Hunters. That's a Metacom Boba Fett. I think he still looks pretty good, even with that Hasbro Zuckuss back there. Older Sideshow IG and Bosk, and that's a Marmot TIE Fighter pilot right there. Up here, this is one of my favorite shelves I did. This is obviously the Sideshow Collectibles C-3PO and R2-D2 1/6 scale figures. And I kind of ruined that detolf shelf there by Mod Podging all that play sand on there, but I think it looks fantastic. I layered it up real nice and sprayed it down and poured more sand on and sprayed it down and repeated that about 4, 5, 6 times. I think it came out fantastic, honestly. And then I kind of made the backdrop there with some stock photos from the internet, and just Googled Tunisia and pulled that up and layered it a little bit, and I think it just came out fantastic. That is one of my very, very favorite shells. Give you a little bit of a close-up. Just amazing. I love this stuff. I mean, I love this stuff, and I'm sure you do too. Going up here, there's a Hot Toys Stormtrooper Luke. I have the new Han Stormtrooper on pre-order, so I might be changing up the way this shelf looks in the near future. And I brought a ladder so I can step up and show you guys what's up here. There's a reason why I call myself Knick-Knack. It's because if you've ever seen The Man with the Golden Gun, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just under 5'7", so not quite that short, but pretty short. So anyway, there's my Sith Lord shelf. Darth Malgus, Darth Maul, Darth Sidious. That's the older Darth Maul, but I still think he holds up real nice. I wouldn't mind the new one either, but that one looks nice too. There's the General Grievous in this detolf bank. A couple of security battle droids flanking him. That's a great piece, and it's something that, they're not doing a lot of prequel stuff anymore, which is a shame because I personally love the prequels. And that's a great figure. Let's comb down just a little bit more here. Oh, look at that. There's Hot Toys Darth Vader from A New Hope, flanked by some older Sideshow Stormtroopers that I did shine up a little bit with some floor wax. They look great. And that backdrop is actually from Knick-Knack's website. It's years and years old. It was actually those were actually designed for 3 3/4 inch, but I managed to kind of blow them up and glue them together onto some board, onto losing my mind here, a board, and it came out real nice anyway. So that's courtesy of Knick-Knack. If you need any cheap backgrounds, go to his website. He's still got those up there for you. There is Han and Carbonite with the Gartog, I believe. Nope, that's just the regular Gamorrean Guard, my bad. And a little VHS love. I still love my VHS tapes. Obviously don't watch them anymore, but they sort of hold their weight in nostalgia. Alright, moving up here. A little Disney Store Krennic for you. My older Sideshow Collectibles Darth Vader. Keeping guard in this detolf. I got him on this base here. I got that base when the Discovery Channel store went out of business like 15 years ago. It's great when you can highly recommend if you ever see if a retail store goes out of business, go see what they have as far as when they're giving away their fixtures and their shelves. You'd be surprised what you can get away with. Good stuff. Little Force Awakens love on this shelf. Rey, Stormtrooper, Finn. And of course, more Jedis up here with Kit Fisto and Plo Koon. Time Magazine in there. Moving over to the next shelf is the Emperor, and sorry about that glare if you see it up there, but the Emperor's there with his throne. Coming down. Hot Toys Luke Skywalker. Sideshow Deluxe Return of the Jedi / Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader with his cool stand. And I actually put that Luke on the IG-88 stand that he came with a few years ago. I just kind of thought it made more sense than having IG-8 on there. Old Star Wars fan club patch. And it's Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan there doing some battle droids. Those are great figures. That Qui-Gon's held up real nice. I'm sure if Hot Toys offered a new one, I would probably get it in a second. But I think that old one holds up pretty nice still. And that Obi-Wan actually is you know, he's a few years old now, but he still looks great too. So good stuff. Pardon the glare. Some some Sideshow. I'm sorry, those are Sideshow Stormtroopers with some artifacts, I believe, or Kotobukiya figures. There's an older Kotobukiya. And down here, I've got some vintage stuff. There's a Hoth scene right there, so looking cool. And then the other vintage scene I like a lot. There's some Gentle Giant busts. There's a vintage Millennium Falcon I'm in the midst of restoring. Found out for 20 bucks at an antique store. Missing a lot of parts, but you know, it's like an old house. The bones are still good, so there's a lot to work with there. So, and it's real clean, not a lot of yellowing. Beautiful piece. So eventually that's going to be a beautiful vintage piece when I get around to, you know, getting other pieces for it. There's another one of my favorite vintage shelves. There's the Return of the Jedi Battle at Sarlacc Pit's game. That was mine when I was a kid. There's Jabba the Hutt back there, and the Max Rule Band, and some bounty hunters. Really, really fun stuff. Alrighty, so I'm on the other side of the room now. I'm going to show you my other set of shelves. These were all purchased at IKEA, and I stacked them on top of each other, which again might seem kind of sketchy, but I use these zip cords and these dowels, and it's pretty secure on there. We don't get a lot of earthquakes here, so if we ever did get an earthquake, I'd have much bigger problems here than my collectibles toppling over. But no, they seem to work great. There's not a problem. Very sturdy. So, at any rate, that's a little bit of rigging I had to do to get everything where I want it to be. You know, the thing with collecting is everything is so aesthetic, and you just want to get it the way you want it. And you want to look at pieces in a certain light. Some pieces look better up above you. Some pieces look better below you. Some pieces look better at eye level. It all depends. So, at any rate, I'll just take you through here. This is the old I Am Your Father diorama from Sideshow Collectibles, back when they used to do these. I did a review on this piece a number of years ago, and I got it on a different, when I had more of a private YouTube channel. So I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about it again. This is a great piece if you never want to resell it. And I'll tell you why. It's all these little polystone railings. I mean, I would be fearful to ever ship this thing. And even though I had the styrofoam for it, taking it apart and putting it together, this was the most nerve-wracking thing I ever put together in my life. Because it was a model kit, so to speak, but it was a $300 model kit. And I was so worried I was going to break one of these things. And I actually did break one of these little exhaust pipes that go into this larger girder here. I actually did break that and glued it back together and did a shitty job. You can't really tell, but it's there. So, anyway, great piece, except for the Vader's helmet looks a little off. That's why I kind of have him positioned the way I do with Luke, facing outwards. I think it looks great like this. So, really cool. I decided to pause the machine there, or my phone, to go get my stepladder so I could get more up here and get you guys in here a little better. Okay, so here's a couple older Sideshow Vader and Obi-Wan, again with those knee-numb diorama backgrounds that I cut out. Looks awesome. And over here is some Episode 3 love with my older Sideshow figures. I found that now that Hot Toys are redoing a lot of these figures and they look so much better, I think it's kind of cooler to put these older Sideshow figures kind of in more diorama-based battle poses and kind of mix it up a little bit. All I did here is I took a I went online, found pictures of volcanoes, stock photos, and you know, and sprayed them onto foam core, and like I did on the other stuff, and it looks really good. And what I also did here, if you'll notice, is that I went out and bought some transparent red rulers, 39 cents, and just taped them above my LEDs there to kind of give this particular shelf a little bit of a red hue. And you know, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think it looks goddamn good. So that is that shelf. Coming down here, this is sort of one of my favorite shelves. All Hot Toys, all Luke Skywalker. You know, it's like the you know, the original George Lucas novel from the Adventures of Luke Skywalker, him at various phases in life. Well, actually, two of them from Empire, one of them from Force Awakens, so not really. But still, it looks really, really cool and badass, and I love it. And love all those figures. And down one more. There is some Clone Wars love in there with some Clone Troopers. Those are my Clone Troopers, my two Clone Wars era Anakin and Obi-Wan, and my prequel era Yoda. And there is my Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back, original trilogy era Yoda, and my Hot Toys Obi-Wan. Just looking so damn awesome. Down below is my Sideshow Collectibles Biker Scout with an old Hasbro stand-in biker speeder bike, and a little bit of finagling with the background there. Again, working with some stock photos of the redwood forest and kind of blending them together. Didn't really come out that great, but because it's in the background, you can't really see the errors there too bad, at least not from a distance. And the other stuff, the kind of the forest floor, I made it a hodgepodge of styrofoam and some train set flora and some aquarium ferns, and then there's a reptile ornament right here, and then of course the some of the logs that the Biker Scout came with from Sideshow. So looking pretty awesome. Pan out a little bit. And then, of course, my Hot Toys New Hope shelf with Luke, Leia, and Han. And that's actually a Force Awakens Chewie, which is personal preference. I thought he looked a little better than the Episode 4 Hot Toys Chewie that they started with. I thought this was sort of an advancement, so to speak. Maybe not. I don't know. I just kind of thought he looked a little better, so I went with that one. So that is that shelf. My Hoth Sideshow Han. Luke and Tauntaun there with a baseball game in the background. I apologize. Hold on one sec. Alright, so that's probably a little less distracting. Turned off the TV for you. But this is a great piece. I love this piece. Probably one of my favorites. I know it's other people's favorites as well. I mean, you could change out the horn. So I could put Han on here, and there's the other horn is in the crawl space with his packaging. But you can change out the horns so that, you know, he can have the, you know, he can be Han's Tauntaun or Luke's Tauntaun. Just awesome. Love this piece so much. And then I also put a rock on from one of the other bases, one of the other Hoth bases that I got. Might have been Han's actually, or Luke's. So here's premium format R2-D2 and C-3PO. Looking awesome. This is the second version of this. The first version, of course, came with the sand base, but this is the second version. And I would turn on C-3PO's eyes for you, but I think I would have to take him. I have to take his face off, and it's kind of pain, and I think his batteries are out actually, so we'll just skip that for now. Over here is an old Jabba's Palace figure environment that Sideshow did. I wish they'd do more of these, because these are great. You know, having places to display your figures just gives so much more personality to them. That is the extremely undersized Metacom R2 with the semi-decent still Metacom C-3PO, facing off with Gartog, the Grimorian Guard, and the old Sideshow Creature Pack. Looking great, looking awesome. Followed by the big gangster himself, Jabba the Hutt, with Bib Fortuna and Salacious Crumb. Looking absolutely awesome, still awesome. Got these figures years ago, and I would never, ever, ever, ever part with them unless someone offered me an obscene amount of money. So, and that's a Hasbro C-3PO back there, actually from Force Awakens, with a painted arm. I found that I did a lot of painting of red arms lately with C-3PO. I'm not sure why, but that guy. I thought the sculpt was nice, and I just wanted something kind of as a background figure, so I had to get rid of that red arm. Anyway, there's some Sideshow Astromechs behind him. The unpainted R2, and then the two Imperial droids, which I could not name off my head, but one's an R5 and one's an R2 unit. And coming up here is Mr. Dewey, Mr. Dewback himself, with a Sideshow Collectibles Sergeant sitting atop the beast of burden as he strides through the desert, no doubt looking for rebel droids. Just looking fantastic. Give you a nice shot of him. Followed by my movie posters, and then I've got some premium formats sitting up on pedestals behind my TV. I'm in a basement, with the foundation lip that gives you that nice extra shelf in some houses. So I'll kind of scroll over here. There is Chewbacca up there on his pedestal, followed by the older premium format Han Solo and the Endor Rebel Troopers that they put out a few years ago, including the character that is Nick Saint, who is allegedly supposed to be Commander Rex. Yeah, whatever, Disney. With some Ewoks, and some Hasbro, and the Sideshow Hammerhead. Looking kind of cool in there. There's a piece I picked up on Force Friday with some now buyer's remorse, kind of chintzy. And here is the Cantina with the old Sideshow Han Solo and Greedo having a negotiation of sorts. Looking fantastic. Some older Sideshow figures, a diorama I am working on currently, and Anakin Skywalker premium format. Followed by, I'm going to back up a little bit so you get a little more of a scope of the room, Probot, some other Sideshow figures. There's Anakin and Chancellor Palpatine, EFX Saber, some vintage stuff in the corner over there. I'll show you that in another video. Here is Yoda's hut. There's a Coke can. Darth Vader premium format, which I'm going to come around and light up for you because it's awesome. Darth Vader EFX helmet with a old master replica Darth Vader lightsaber. This is awesome. I found these, and I feel kind of bad. Part of me feels kind of bad about this, but I found these at a collector store, an antique store. Didn't come with stands, but it is inscribed. It is master replica, so there's no certificate of authenticity. But I got them for so cheap that they're either somehow some weird bootleg or they're hot. So anyway, if anyone ever got these stolen, I'm sorry, I might have yours. But anyway, that is that. Still great weight to it. It's awesome. Come around here, light this guy up. Oh yeah, that's a great premium format. I love that one too. I do have the Empire Strikes Back Luke on pre-order. We'll get that sometime next year. So, that is my official Star Wars Sideshow / Hot Toys room tour for you guys.
So anyway, that is it for now. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this little journey. I hope you enjoyed that small room tour. Again, I'm going to be focusing on some other aspects of my collection in the next video, including I do have a full basement that is actually full of my other earlier collectible exploits from late 90s and early 2000s, and that would be my Star Wars Hasbro collection. So we'll be taking a look at that maybe in the next video, and also some other things that are just freaking awesome. So anyway, again, if you like this, if you want to see more of this, click like. Give me a subscribe and follow me. So and I'm gonna work on getting a Facebook page set up too as well. So until next time, thanks for joining me, and safe journeys home from the plastic planet. Adios.